Hey, how's it going? I'm John Rail, skepticallypwned.com. I realize that things are a little bit tense lately in the skeptical community. In fact, a few days ago, I was supposed to be doing a skeptical collaboration with a few of my skeptical peeps who, at the last moment, kind of left me holding my dick because they didn't feel comfortable moving forward with a skeptical project in this current climate, which I can totally understand. I get that. I empathize. So you know what? Fuck it. Let's not move forward. Let's take a couple steps back. Let's talk about TAM. TAM was pretty great this year. More than that, TAM was filled with camaraderie and love, and it was probably the most drama-free convention that I can recall being a part of. Now, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that this was my third TAM, and so I've gone from being a stranger to an acquaintance to now pretty much good friends with a lot of people that I meet up with at TAM. So it might have just been me, but I heard that same feedback from a lot of people who were there. It was just a good, relaxing time, and it was really fantastic. You really should have been there if you weren't. In fact, and maybe this is because I've grown a few skeptical inches over the last few years, but it didn't seem quite as jam-packed as it usually is, you know? I mean, there were still over 1,100 people there, but it didn't seem quite as full as I was used to. And before you go jumping to any dramatic conclusions as to why that might be, I think the answer is very simply, where were the rock stars? You know? Where was Neil deGrasse Tyson, Richard Dawkins, Bill Nye, some of the big guys. I mean, get Brian Cox in there. I mean, I know we're never going to see Phil Plait again, but fucking the Mythbusters, Adam Savage. Come on, buddy, where are you? I mean, shit, at this point, I'll settle for Richard Wiseman. I mean, did we even have a keynote speaker this year? Susan Jacoby. Yay, Susan Jacoby. She put the cynicism back in skepticism. Yay, the Wilford Brimley of free thought. Kids don't read books anymore. Kids don't check their own math anymore. Kids keep eating sugary cereal and not enough Quaker oatmeal. Tell you what, Susan, we'll get in a time machine, we'll go back to your hometown when you were a kid, and we'll see how many people in your community were actually literate, let alone read books on a regular basis. Okay? And that goes for you too, Werner Herzog. Now, don't get me wrong, there was of course some badass lectures this year from both new and old people. Not that they're old people, that they're speakers who have spoken before. Though, I mean, let's be honest, most of them are pretty old. Some of the familiar faces even up their game. I think this was, to date, my favorite lecture that Shermer has delivered, even though I will say genital mutilation at 8 o'clock in the morning is a bit much for me. Though I think if anybody stole the first day of lectures, it would definitely have to be Marty Klein, who showed us through a great deal of statistics and charts that there is a huge amount of correlation between pornography and respect for women, pornography, healthy relationships, that sort of thing. Of course, as with any lecture or charts or statistics, who knows if correlation equals causation, but if it's true, it's pretty fucking awesome. I think we all want it to be true. And when I say we, I mean men, women, and transgender, all alike. Who doesn't like porno? If you don't like porno, you're not looking at the right porno. I mean, there's pornography made from all kinds of perspectives, all different types. May I suggest Sam No, a female director, really captures from a female perspective, and yet still stays hardcore. Of course, Harriet Hall, as always, threw down a badass lecture, but that troubles me a little. Harriet Hall is beginning to trouble me insofar as basically anything that comes out of her mouth, I instantly believe. I've lost all sense of skepticism when it comes to whatever Harriet Hall says. I'm like, of course Drano cures lung cancer. Drink Drano. Thank you, Harriet Hall. Harriet Hall has never ever said that. Please don't make me drink Drano, Harriet Hall. And of course, I was happy to see all the people who I'm obviously biased towards. Sharon Hill was awesome. Richard Saunders was great. Barbara Drescher, as always. In fact, one of my highlights this year at TAM, and Barbara may deny ever saying this, but trust me, she said it. I was there. She said, John, I heard you on a podcast the other day, and I just have to say, and I don't say this to very many people, you are a rational person. Another person I was happy to see on stage was Bob Blaskowitz. I hope I'm saying that kind of sort of right. Who I've become fast internet friends with just because I like his style, I like his antics, I like his willingness to just talk schmack to the bullshitters out there. Hopefully, in fact, we'll be collaborating soon on a Brzezinski project. Who knows? And apparently the JREF were trying something different this year. Apparently they did some sort of lottery system where they randomly picked a young, loquacious skeptic to get up on stage and talk about how they became a skeptic. It was fun. It was interesting. I mean, maybe next year they can have the lottery in advance. That way, whoever gets picked could actually, come up with a speech or a lecture or a topic of some sort to discuss. But, it was interesting hearing this random young skeptic talk about how they became a skeptic. That was fun for everybody. Shit, if it's a paying gig, I'll do it. Apparently, you don't even have to use up the whole time. You could just use buzzwords like dialogue and communicate and get people to awkwardly line up and ask you questions about the not lecture you just gave. I think if there was one don't miss speech lecture out of the whole TAM, it would definitely not be Russell Blackford. Oh my God. I kid you not. I saw no less than like 3 to 5 people kind of nodding off during the thing. I mean, he's supposed to be, well, okay, he's like more of a poor man's Richard Dawkins, but still, he's supposed to be, I'm the atheist at a skeptic convention. It was so boring. It was so dull. I kid you not. I was fading, and then all of a sudden, like 3 minutes into me fading, all of a sudden he transmorphed into an interesting, prolific speaker. Wait a minute. That's not Russell Blackford anymore. That's Peter Peter. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Sorry, I'm butchering it. I have no idea. But he fucking delivered. The guy threw down. I kid you not, I know I'm doing a lot of hyperbole here, but I was literally falling asleep, and my girl can tell you that because I was leaning on her shoulder, and all of a sudden, I started hearing these prolific words. I'm like, oh, wow, Blackford finally came to play. Caffeine finally... Oh, wait, that's somebody else. And he was epic. He was prolific. Like, I really hope the JREF gets that lecture out because it was pretty amazing. It was everything you want from a JREF lecture. It was topical, it was dramatic, it was unapologetic, which was basically what the whole lecture was about. It's like no more bullshit apologies. Mean what you mean, say what you say, be who you are. It was the kind of kick up the ass lecture that we needed this year at TAM. So, Peter, sorry about your last name, but thank you for the lecture. It was amazing. I honestly think Peter's lecture would have been the talk of the town if it wasn't for something else stealing its thunder. Now, I'm of course referring to Magicgate 2013. That's right, all you JREF Magic Fight fans finally got what you came for. Jamy and Swift's Mark Edward on the same stage, hashing it out about the shit you've been dying to see them hash it out about in public for the first time ever, which is basically how much deception is too much deception, what kind of deception is okay, what kind of deception isn't okay, what's the difference between doing a few magic tricks or doing a psychic reading and allowing that person to believe that you may or may not actually be psychic. And where's the moral line? I know where I think that moral line exists. Mark thinks it exists in a very different place than Jamy and Swiss does. Very interesting, very cool, very tense. I was literally hiding in my girlfriend's lap the whole time. It was very scary. In fact, to commemorate the event, I even had Sara Mayhew draw a nice picture of them both. There's a little lightning bolt. And there's Jamy and Swiss. And there's Mark Edward. Now, if you want to hear my abridged thoughts on Mark's book, check out Skeptical Briefs, which has my 1,000-word review, and a cool little interview with me about my new skeptical web series, Skeptically Tuned, where I review shows that I deem or others have deemed to be skeptical, or at least intending to be skeptical, but sometimes often fail. Now, as I said, this carries the 1,000-word version, the abridged version. The 2,500-word version will be coming out very soon in a magazine that's pretty awesome, and I'm pretty happy about it, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. You'll just have to see. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this journey through my journey of the amazing meeting 2013. Join me next time where I go over some of the highlights and maybe lowlights of what happened at TAM outside of the lecture circuit. We'll get to talk about some stripping, some bacon, some donuts, and some other wacky events that I experienced. Stay tuned.